What's up, everybody? You got Lady Hippy at the bar again. Yeah, it's been that kind of week. What can I say? I'm gonna have to move this about a little bit. I'm kind of doing that window and a window thing, and I'm trying not to yell in y'all's ears. And I gotta admit, I didn't put a lot of effort into putting this together today. But at my age, it's like catch as catch can. Personally, I did pretty good with this look for 50 years. So I'm good with that. I've seen nieces, nephews, cousins on my husband's side because all of my family are gone except my direct line of descendants, which would be my son and his children. There's still tens of family on his side. I'm from the north and was adopted, and they didn't do big families up there. Yeah, they wanted to leave room for the home garden, and that turned out handy many times because there were no food stamps back then. And I don't know if y'all remember, but if there was a strike, you didn't cross the line, means you didn't get fed you your paycheck. So yeah, they grew everything in the backyard. Um, I'm afraid that's a skill that's been lost. And of course, today the allergens, which I thought would be better, and my cigarette is going out. I thought would be better today. I lied. They're 100 times worse. It took me 2 hours to put on what little makeup I'm wearing. I tend to use one of my headbands, pearl, jewels, whatever I have to hand or feel like wearing that day, because I haven't made a hair appointment, and so my hair is naturally, I call it naturally frizzy. They call it naturally curly, and they don't understand why I style it to be fairly straight, just a little body, because otherwise I look like I stuck my head in a light socket. Not my finger, my whole head in there. And there's probably 3 to 4 nests in there somewhere. So I try and fix that a little bit. I haven't done even a manicure this week, so you can see how my week's going. Um, been kind of not watching the news lately. There's so much crap that you have to take a break. It's not just the talking heads politics because they can't even get that right. You got giggling Kamala, and I don't know where the bathroom is, Joe. So people have a lot of respect for America. I have a lot of respect for America. I don't have no respect for the people that are running it, except for 4 or 5. Josh Harley's one. The young girl from, not Georgia is one. Governor DeSantos is another. But these are, yeah, I can count them probably all on my both hands, which is how I learned to count and still do. This is still the entertainment purposes only. And yeah, what the hell? I'm still going to be here all week. I did want to touch on a few bases that maybe I got sidetracked on yesterday. I have not, believe it or not, I say every day I'm going to run through, check the comments, do all that. I don't have a production crew. And we're kind of a cat sanctuary as well. And I have 2 cats that are visiting us for a few weeks till their owner gets back on their feet. And I fidget. I do this fidget thing. I don't know why, but I do. I guess it's a something of, oh my God, I looked this band on TV thing. So I had started talking about the fact that we've got these diverse things going on, rumors of war, wars of rumors, back and forth and so forth. And we've been owned by the Chinese since the Clintons sold us. I mean, for a while, I don't even know if they're still doing it, but I remember when the Clintons were in office because they screwed me running and closed over half of the United States bases. I mean, those in the U.S. Yeah. Left the White House broke, but they had to give back the living room. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It was the bedroom set from Lincoln. Yeah, that kind of crap. And suddenly they can run a $4 million wedding for their only kid. Really broke? No, you're breaking everybody you're stealing from, and you've been selling the opposite since he was governor. So that would have been like late 70s, early 80s. These people have been screwing us running for decades. Technically, I think well over a century. I don't think people also, and they're not taught their history. The S&Ls, as they were called back in the day, this was Clinton's. They were savings and loans. They were banks. There was a run on them. They failed, but they were not too big to fail. So nobody bailed them out, and everybody lost their money that was in it. Retirements, everything. They lost everything. Nobody stepped in to give that money back to them. Then they came up with the federal insured banks. Well, that makes you feel a little better. You know, if you lose some money, the banks will give it back to you through the bit. Really? Has anybody checked on the deficit lately? Show have Yeah, I didn't go with that one either. Yeah, you can't check trillions. I can't count to two. So, anyway, I know that they've taken all of the money that everybody makes, and we're in so much debt that our great, 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 great grandchildren will still be in it up to their eyeballs. And that's if they don't add to it. They hate Trump so bad that they've kept him in court and done all of this while they ignored everything that the Biden family has been doing for, again, decades, laundering money through 6 American banks and putting it in the bank accounts of 9 Biden family members. Now, really, nobody said nothing about that. They had the Hunter laptop till from 2016. Problems were they said, oh, they couldn't find it, then it got wiped accidentally. Well, there were copies. Yeah, some people are stupid. Most of us just believed in our governments more. I love my country. I hate my government. Yeah, truthfully, if Thomas Jefferson, George, any of them people around, they'd be swinging as the traitors they are. They're not just treasonous; they're traitors, full of treason, and that's putting that a nice way. So again, I didn't want to look at the news, and then I found that even in Africa, which is of course the largest continent on the planet, at least habitable. Um, I don't know who the young man was. I believe he was the president of some nation in Africa, was telling his audience that if they had American money, they needed to get rid of it because then they wouldn't have any money if they kept it. So something's on the down low. So I just wanted to check that. Oh, I love Maria. What's her name? Maria Barantalo. Anyway, she's on Fox's channel, and I don't usually watch Fox anymore because they were a great channel when they started. They started in the state of town. They were like the public broadcast system. It was free. Only now, nothing is freaking free. Not even the public broadcasters. They jam that shit too. Now, I think everybody should take at least just 1 month, get some books, get some games, you know, turn off your service. Just that 1 month. And you watch these suckers come out the woodwork for $5 for a month. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they're doing this crap to us because people are paying the bills until they finally get tired like we did and go with whole home Wi-Fi, which is still almost 100 a month. And they will bring it up to 100 a month if you don't stop them every 6 months. Sometimes it's 3 months. Depends on who your provider is. So there's that. They say that at the end, let me see if I can put this succinctly. In 41, when we had to join the war, Roosevelt got everybody to even send their golden wedding bands in because we needed gold. And we didn't have it. Although they say Fort Knox is full since World War II. However, after the savings and loans debacle, they went with the federal insured. They didn't have anything to back that shit up, but they went with it. And everybody felt good. They left their stuff in there, 401ks, yada, yada. Well, I'll tell you what, I worked my whole life and I put into 401ks like 35 years, never saw a penny really. I think I got a $1,200 check when I resigned out of the teaching system because you had no choice. They just took the scrap from your check. You didn't get to go, I really can't afford that right? No, that just came out. Just like your Social Security, just like your unemployment, just like your Medicaid, just like your Medicare. Who the hell is FICA? Why are they still getting our money? This is why it's called entertainment purposes only because I do not need Blackhawks landing on my lawn this early. The neighbors get kind of pissy. So you can't make this stuff up. So this guy was telling everybody, get rid of the American money because it's not going to really be worth anything without saying that actually. I have found out, and I did some deep diving after that. So it's going to be part of the Intermonetary Fund, the IMF. Everybody knows that, right? Okay. I'm going to go with everybody gets it, or they can look it up, or drop me a line. I'll try to get to you. So today I was going to give a few home truths out there. And then they're going to back that up with digital currency, DC. So they've been saying for a couple of years they're going to get rid of currency. And it's all going to be electronic. Open those pod bay doors, Hal. What you going to do? Anybody see the net with Sandra Bullock? or even 2001 Space Odyssey shows you the AR problem, and that's well over 20 years ago. So it was the net, it was the late 90s. And in the net, she runs into something. She's a programmer, basically, just starting all of this. This is in the late 90s. And the whole thing was that she had seen something she wasn't supposed to see, didn't know she had seen at first. And she gets home, and her home has a destruction order on it. I could spend there for 4 months. She goes to use her card. Bells and whistles go off. There's no money. Cops are chasing her everywhere because she's wanted as a murderer. Well, how did you do that? How did she get to that? How could she not clear her name? She didn't have a name. She had the name that they put in there for her. Murder on the Hire, Murderer List, whatever they wanted to call it. I can't even remember. So the movie was a long time ago. But if you really want to know which way this is actually going, uh, get the net. The Matrix is another good one because I've seen planes just stuck there. I've seen animals. I've seen people. I mean, for 10 minutes, and they don't move. So this glitch in the Matrix, I like the Mandela effect. I saw that funeral on TV on my lunch hour. I'll never forget it. And yet, a couple years later, he's running the UN, and is remarried, divorced and remarried. So we've somehow taken an altered path. If you ask me, most people don't. I believe that CERN was responsible for the fact that things are showing a Mandela effect. One good video that I saw was of the Berenstain Bears. Now, I grew up and I knew who the Berenstain Bears were because I used that both for my son and my grandson. And then suddenly it was the Berenstain Bears. It's different. Stein, is spelled just IE difference, okay? But it's pronounced a different way. There's one video where a guy had an old Berenstain Bear book, and he would stand in a doorway and extend the book, and it would say Berenstain. And if you put it inside that room, it said Berenstain. He kept doing that, like it was going to stop. I've seen cats frozen, dogs frozen. I've seen people step out of what looks to me just an envelope. They just open it up and walk through. Guy on a bicycle in France comes right behind another guy. I've seen cars just show up. I've seen people in lab coats suddenly just underneath an 18-wheeler, and they're walking across. Da, da, da. There's a lot going on, guys. Something's screwing with something. I don't know what it is. I don't know if we pissed off God again or which God it is. But there's some shit coming down the road, and everybody needs to pay attention. I didn't either. I didn't catch this. There have been 29 different food processing plants that have burnt down in the last few months in the United States alone. Guess who's buying up all those farms? And they were before this. And you've got that right. That would be Bill Gates, the one with the $2 billion bunker. Get there. Get there. She hates it when I do that. So, somebody knows something they're not telling the rest of us. They've been suddenly pushing cereal for dinner. It's full of healthy things, doesn't take long. Cereal. And then you want you to use that shit for breakfast if you ask a dietitian who hasn't been bought yet. Yeah. Any of us who deal with our diets in different ways, for different ailments, we've actually referred to Google to find better ways to do this. Unfortunately, that's not helping a lot of folk. They showed, and I'll never eat a hamburger again in my life. It already done me in with the chickens with the bird flu, and I was a veteran. I am a veteran, but I was a vegan before they came up with it. We just called them vegetarians. The eggs from the chickens are not going to be sufficient in the next year or two because supposedly of the avian bird flu. I should try something straight up this morning. And everybody remembers the bird flu scare. They killed millions of chickens. Well, those didn't come back. They've been putting so much insecticides on our food that is planted. I'm talking lettuce, potatoes, and mind you, most of that is gone now. It's all under Gates umbrella. Yeah, gotta love that. But they've been putting so much chemicals on stuff that they don't go in their fields for 3 days after they fertilize them. And when they go to harvest that same crop, they wear hazmat suits. Now, what the hell kind of shit are they feeding us now? I'm just saying, we're going to have an orange shortage, an egg shortage, basically a dietary shortage. I saw a clip from right here in Georgia where the guy was throwing his milk out and crying because they wouldn't let you can only sell so much of the milk. That's to keep the prices at $3 a gallon. If you have enough milk, it'd only be $1.50 a gallon. So you have to throw it away. This is your government at work, folks. Come on. At what point does this 80 something year old man still have the moxie to get up there and say, I didn't do it in 49 years, but by God, I got it this time? And how many idiots are giving these people money still? Give it a rest. They're trying to keep Trump from winning or losing or even being in the battle, from what I can see. And they're literally trumping up charges that are just, I don't know, they're not legal. But the legal system has not been a legal system for, well, since I paid attention, and I got into legalese back when I got my first divorce. My husband's watching. We won't tell about that other one. So that, I mean, I'm trying not to throw too much stuff at the same time, as I had some corrections to make for yesterday, and now they've just completely gone. Again, actually, I got to get you guys. Without you guys, I can't do this channel. Yeah, I got to get out there. You got to like, you got to tickle the bell, you got to subscribe, you got to share, show your friends. If they don't like it, they can get rid of it. But in the meantime, come to Woodstock. Let's find out what the bloody blazes are these blue balls doing to America. Well, I can tell you real quick if you haven't figured it out for yourself, and I reckon 99.9% figured it out. That other percent is just doing 3 jobs in college like I used to. Ain't got time. But they're now going around the water coast. You hear the idea? I think, yeah. I have lots on my plate worrying about my grandchildren and my son. In particular, my stepdaughter will be fine, but I do worry about my son because of his position. Um, and I can't say more than that, of course. I just do. He's my son. I'm going to worry about him. I'll be 65 this year. Don't nobody say it. I know I look 73. Just don't say it. No need to hate this morning. Yeah, thanks, guys. So we've gone through some of all of what was the sum of parts there. The interesting thing I saw was the Pope being greeted by some of the family members of those who have been taken hostage on the 7th. Now, between me, you, and the fence post, I doubt any of those hostages are alive. There might be a few of the smaller children that are alive that they gave to Palestinian women who'd lost their children. That's the only way I can see that there would be any of the prisoners left. Even the Palestinians, or I'm sorry, Hamas, has pointed out that they think that at least 40 of the last remaining 130 something are already dead and have been for some time. But they want the ceasefire and they'll give up the hostages. Well, first off, I'd need proof of life before I'd even agree to that. And second, I wouldn't agree to it anyway. I'd pound you into the dirt. You know, I don't believe in no quarter. You couldn't give those families any quarter. None. Not even the children. You couldn't give the children quarter? You had to kill the parents. Okay. That's not right, but okay. But the children, you had to roast them alive. You had to cut their heads off. I mean, come on. There's nothing in that that's human. That's pure evil. And there is a difference between good and evil. And all of us have to find our own point on that problem. And again, I'm not up here to lecture or not any of that, but it gets my buns on fire sometimes. Like, it's 192 days, I think, just under 6 months they've been fighting. Um, they got some hostages back in the first 6, 7 weeks after the war started, something along that line. They haven't really gotten any sense. None. I know of one child that turned 1 years old in those, and they had him in the tunnels. You bet they did, because they could control him that way easily. There's no light. There's nothing. You sit in place and you can pace off where that bathroom is to have the toilet. I don't know what in God's name those women did that had kids with them. They were the few women that were returned. And their stories didn't come out right away, but I knew what it was going to be. There's not a woman on the planet that didn't see that coming. because they use it as a tool. They use it as a tool against men too. I don't think Jewish men like being raped either, and they were. So yeah, they kept it a lot from us, and they needed to because we weren't ready to see that any more than they were. But they sold these girls, these hostages out to whoever. Yeah, they prostituted them. So if they were beat to death, nobody cared. I guess no one knows. I don't think that Hamas knows how many prisoners are left because they've been hounded all the way out to Egypt, nearly at Rafah. The IDF have pulled forces from the south. Why would they do that? And did anybody notice that the minute they pulled forces, Syria started hitting them with missiles? But it's the IDF that's the problem. I need to see these people that are saying that because I want to put a burqa on them and shove their ass out of a plane. I give them a parachute. Just, you know, this Omar, whatever her woman name is, up there with her little headscarf and tell out America we're wrong. Get out. Get out. Or maybe we should use your laws. You like your laws so much better that you don't like my laws? And you up in Congress with this pointing finger telling me what? Oh, no, you didn't. No, you did not. She did. Ain't nobody thrown out of a plane yet. Give me a ticket to DC. I'd be happy to toss her ass out of a plane. I give her a shoot. She put it on the way down. I don't like people who come to my country supposedly because they want a better life and then decide to use my country's own laws against its people. And by God, that's what's been going on. If anybody's seen any news whatsoever, which most of us try to avoid because work is bad enough. A lot of stuff going on in America that should not be happening. New York closed another 55 stores. New York will soon be a wasteland like Detroit. Seattle is already. San Francisco, you're walking on human excrement if there's a store open. Without these stores, people can't make that minimum wage. You can't feed their families because there's no blooming store to buy groceries from. So you have to leave. It's kind of like having no water back a couple thousand years ago. This thing did it again. Oh, this is why I used to put it on music. I was trying to catch up a little bit as to, let's just do this, what was going on in the world. And again, it's just I'm getting more frightened than I was when I was 20 and so I wouldn't have any kids. Bingo, bingo, I got a kid. God does not always agree with me. So we'll discuss that after he has shown me proof of ID. Yeah, and kind of, yeah, show me, girl. So we have all this stuff going on, and there literally is just too much to even put your plate in and say, okay, I get this. These are not little things. Bill Gates has been buying up farmland for about a decade. I don't know how long he's been doing his underground bunkers, and a bunch of billionaires are. I also found out today that the billionaires that were in cryptocurrency, maybe and Bitcoin or Bitcoin, whatever that was, they got rich off of it, whatever it was. Um, they've been found dead. There's four already. Um, and they've said so. And 2 hours, they get on YouTube, not YouTube, Instagram mainly, and say, I think I'm going to be killed today by the CIA. And 2 hours after they air it, they're dead. Mysterious circumstances, car accidents, suicides, drownings. Candace Owens has a good story on that. You can check with her. And I like Candace. She doesn't take any grief. Then you got the other thing I couldn't get out of, and I haven't been able to for 2 days. I haven't sat down long enough to do anything, was to find out what in the blooming hell is going on with all of the rappers or whatever they are, hip hop, rap, but it turns out many of them have been throwing weird parties and destroying their women and killing people in nightclubs while they get somebody else to take the blame. And these things are kind of coming home to roost, i.e., what you doing? The Puff Daddy takedown on two coasts, Miami and L.A. of his mansions. And I saw that. I saw them all as left. Yeah, when they toss your house, they toss your freaking house. They do not hire a house crew to come back and put it back. What I had a problem with, and they didn't have any need for, was that they took all the man's jewelry, all the jewelry that was in there, just empty boxes. Now, what the hell is that going to tell them? I don't think the Americans should be, the FBI and the CIA, and these guys look like they just come in from Afghanistan, but with better uniforms. I mean, did you see who raided them? Did you see? I mean, come on. I've seen military units, my own included, and although it's been a while, that didn't have that much shit on. I'm just saying. These guys didn't want a full cuff. And they handcuffed his kids and held it onto the back this way, putting a loop right here by the, and pulling and walking backwards. Now, where the hell was that necessary? I don't see that was necessary. They already had him handcuffed. They didn't have to do all that. And they didn't arrest him. They just detained him. I love that. That's a new word, detained. If they tell you you're detained, you might as well get ready to go to jail because that's the next step. They're just detaining you while they find out what they're going to get you for. I'm worried about this light again. Yesterday, I do not want to stage the house of Brent, and I did really want to throw some holy oil water both around, and I can't burn it down. So the banks take dim views of that. But yesterday, at the end of my podcast, and again, I'm at the bar, so it's technically what used to be the dining room. And we have a drop ceiling light. It's not, people would say chandelier. It's not. It's the ugly ones with the 6 bells. I just think they could be done better. Anyway, and it dims all the time. And I'm always saying to it, I'm going to end you. And I am looking for a new light. It just died off as I finished. And I had I said, well, that's odd. So I went ahead and closed it down, and I looked at it for a little while to see it would come on. I was doing other things. So it come on. So I went. It's on a dimmer switch. So I went over and I turned it all the way up. Worked fine. When I turned it back on. So there's a problem. I don't know what's causing that, but it's a problem. That things don't just start doing that for no reason. So a little leery. So if I'm gathering cats and leaving out the front door, these house on fire. So I mean, one of those days. I'm trying to remember what all it was I was going to correct on some of the things I was speaking about yesterday. Not so much correct, but fill in. I think I'm going to have to wait for y'all to get back to me. It turns out I've got a bit of a fever. I have a mild kidney infection, and I treat those with infusions of tea and so forth. I do not go to the doctor. Just needs an antibiotic from them. You can make your own. Dandelion tea is one that's good for that. So I'm not feeling so, which is probably noticeable. And I'm thinking the world has absolutely lost its ever-loving mind. I heard all the hullabaloo about the solar eclipse. I'm old. I've seen it, done it, didn't get it. Hey, it was boring. I was talking to my friends. I want to. So, everybody's having to do this. They were trying to find glasses for those that Amazon didn't get them to, or some port stealer got. One of the reasons we had gone back to not really ordering so much for Christmas online, even though I'm a homebody. I can't hear you on my porch. My husband's out there all the time and he's working something. I walk out to find him. He's on the front porch. And I'm like, it's a little disconcerting to realize you can't hear somebody on the front porch. I mean, they're this far from you. The walls are not that big. I mean, this is not, a community that was, if mankind disappeared today in, they say 1,000 years, but I believe literally in 300 years, you'd never know we were here. Because all of the stuff that we make it kind of goes back into whatever it was before. I mean, iron oxidizes, wood rots, and there might be some big faces from the Mount Rushmore. There might be some dams, but I think the Hoover would blow itself apart. So tomorrow's never a given, guys. And everybody thinks, oh, we've come so far, we're doing this, we're doing that. Are you, or is AI doing it? You don't know, do you? Do you take that green pill or the red one? Personally, I'm all for, I don't care. Some things you can't change. It's too late for me to do those changes, almost. But it's not too late for me to get up here and say, guys, get back to me. Get in on this. It's social Woodstock. They're going to take this from us. We won't be hurt. This is our last chance for the baby boomers, i.e., we hippies, to be heard, to talk to each other, to treat these truths, and to reach others with those truths. You know, peace, love, don't make war. And they did anyway. You know, it's like with Bush going over there, we're going to teach him this, we're going to teach him that. And the, they sent in a Black SEAL team and head to toe black camo, all the, bells and whistles on, so they'd be talked to and routed straight to the Baghdad Museum. So what the hell did they find in Iraq that they had to have so bad? And the other one I wanted to talk about was I think I said something about it anyway, but I tend to look into these things and then move on real quick. So, everybody with the Moses, and Brother Aaron. I don't know where Brother Aaron came in the picture because Moses was in a reed basket found by the Pharaoh's daughter. And by the way, does Moses sound like any Egyptian name, any Pharaoh name that you've ever heard? Hands? Yeah, that's right, Tutmos. They dropped the Tut off of it. He was Tutmosis. He was the natural heir in succession to the pharaonic throne of Egypt. Now, I don't know what set him off, except the Israelis at that point and it had come out, that they were 10 to 1 as far as the Egyptians, so that they could just get rid of them, take the country if they wanted to. So they enslaved them, so hoping to stave that off. Bad move. People go, well, what was the, and then they chased him across the sea and he had to part the sea. Well, you've just given an entire population that's 10 to 1 on yours to leave your country. Do you think they're just going to take a new dress and that's it? They ran through Egypt like locusts. Where do you think the Ark of the Covenant came from? It was a power source still in Egypt. And you can see this all over Egypt. The Ankh was part of a power thing. If you look up at your own cell towers, you will see these things. You'll see the Dendi Millers and all of that is still there. And Egypt was one of the last bastions built, carried on, and taught by the remaining Atlanteans and Atlanteans that had reincarnated to jumpstart mankind again. Try to teach them astrology, math, all the above. It wasn't just the Fertile Crescent. It wasn't just Egypt. It was around the world. I don't know where they all went. Can't tell you that. I can tell you that for at least 100 years, if not more, I know the Smithsonian is very culpable in this, that they've been hiding giants or their remains. They were found a lot in the mound builders across America. I will say North America is how we're deemed on the map. So every time they found one, they come in and get it. Nobody else will see it. If there were pictures taken, they went to the local newspaper office, took pictures. Yeah, so if they got the only good thing about them was some of them got through. And the newspaper has what they call a morgue. So there's about 20 of the newspapers, just magazines, everything goes in it. They take that whole thing, they bundle it up, and they store them. Okay, and then they start changing them, and they put them on microfilm. And I can tell you, that's fun to look up. So now it's all a different way. So what could they do with that? Any damn thing they want. It's not in print. You can't. They burn that down. It's just a couple plastic discs. Replace them puppies. That'll be fun. So yeah, I'm real worried about the next generation. You better not. You see me. You better get down. I spend more of my time telling my little pixie here not to do that because she wants to see how far she can push. So I'm hoping I got all of the detritus out of the way in some cases this morning. If there's any questions, throw them in the live stream, throw them in the comments. I will try to get back. It's just been one of those crazy weeks. Okay, she's going to come behind me this time. It really has. Before I've turned around twice. It's 9:00 at night. I'm going, why am I still cleaning the kitchen? And I had worked very hard to start cutting my days off by 5:00. That meant dinner served, animal served, trash out, dishes done, whatever. And I'm back on, the 6 in the morning to 8, 9:00 at night. I can't do that. I can't do that. Like this morning, I woke up with a migraine at 3 a.m. from all the pollen. Never did get back to sleep. Didn't fall asleep till after midnight. And so, henceforth, my eyes are watering like crazy. And I don't know if it's from lack of sleep, the condition that America is in, or allergies, or all the above. But I tried to get a few things in. Again, I'm sure I skip over somewhere I start and then get off on a different tangent because there's so much stuff going on, like the rapper thing. You got billionaires being offed supposedly by the CIA a couple of hours after Instagram alerts that they're going to get killed. Um, you've got others that are saying they're clones. You've got like people like Kanye or Ye West, whatever his name really is, nobody knows, saying that they tried to keep him on lithium and unrecognizable and in a jewel cup. And they did that to him for a few months. And so he quit doing that. Another one is Britney Spears. So the way her father did her and put her under conservatorship wasn't his money. Doesn't matter how she spent it. Doesn't matter if she gave it to another country. Oh, thanks bunches. I see she took me upstream. Okay. Okay, we're going to have to end and come back. So I don't know where she came in on this. Oh, here we go. Maybe I get you here. I saw that I did go through the other one where she had spilled my coffee and I had gone down to end stream, but I did not hit done completely. And so I'm running around. My camera's still filming me. I can't see me because there's this big thing over the picture. And I'm thinking, oh, I'm good. I'll just kind of throw in and maybe edit a bit. I'm going to have to edit like 5 minutes. I haven't had time to do anything for 5 minutes. I took a 3 minute shower for God's sake. So, and she's tearing up my notebooks, which I used just to balance the books yesterday. Oh, my eyes are just killing me. And the minute I get offline, they'll stop doing this. I don't know why. And I wear my glasses more often now because of that surgery I had on the lenses in the hopes that it would stop this. And I did take something for my allergies. I do every morning and get don't look at me like that. Go on. Oh, it's going to be in the 80s here. So apparently we bypassed spring and went straight into summer hell. I love that part. I've got 15 drawers full of sweaters. I only used 3 this year. So I got to wonder, where are all these clothes? Um, I think that most of us need to realize that what we are seeing, for one thing, our own government's been bought and paid for a long time. And that same government has been used to have themselves bought and paid for, i.e., the Bidens. And this was, I'm just reporting what they've said now on video and in the House. They're trying to get something done. They have absolute proof, excuse me, that the Bidens have been getting millions for some time. And it's shelled through 20 different companies. Dummy companies means that's not a company, it's just a name. And they've been laundering it through 6 banks. And I think they said 8 or 9 different Bidens were receiving the money. I can't recall it to check into that. So, yeah. And then the next day, you hear that Kamala Harris is telling you, we're going to go to electronic currency. Did you vote on that, guys? You gotta laugh. You can't make this shit up. I mean, you just can't. When you're watching a desert flood and stay that way, something's got to be going on. I mean, I said to my husband when I saw the floating camels, this does not bode well for the war. And so he called up sometime yesterday evening. He caught a show where the water is just pouring out everywhere in the desert, everywhere, all over Saudi Arabia. And so they no longer really have a desert. They got what? It's not the Nile. I don't even know where to go with that one. Italy is one of their strongest. God, it's my eyes. One of their strongest volcanoes started erupting a few days ago. It wasn't Vesuvius because I'm familiar with it more. There have been thousands of earthquakes at Yellowstone. with now 3 magma chambers instead of the one, and they know that. If it goes, it'll be an ELE, which is an end of life extinction. Hence, I suppose the billionaires' bunkers. Now, I don't care. You can outfit them for 25 years, 50 years, whatever. Hey, more power to you. But what happens when you come out of that bunker? What happens? You're going to eventually run out of that stuff you bought. So what do? You're coming up, you look around, you go right the hell back down because it's just going to look like Mars landscape. By the way, Mars is not orange, it's not red. It has an atmosphere, although a very small one. And there's several cities that they've also found. So this is why they're running to Mars. This was the other question I think I started and never answered when they were walking across the Antarctic and they were picking up rocks that are supposed to have been leftover meteorites, and I'm not sure where they got that conclusion. What I wanted to know is the girl that picked it up and said, "Hey, this is a Mars rock." How the hell did she know it was a Mars rock? How did anybody know it was a Mars rock? Is it on there in red? It's a Mars rock? How the hell you know that? Riddle me that, Batman. just And people just go, "Oh, okay, it's a Mars rock." Did you know that 3/4 of the moon rocks were given to people? One actually went in and stole them with his girlfriend and was selling them. Maybe it was eBay or something. This has been 15 years maybe ago. I mean, what they had left, they were auctioning off, which is how they found out they didn't have any left. It's just been, and I hate to say, and this is just my opinion only. Again, I'll be here all week for entertainment purposes only. But since the Clintons, they've known what's coming down the pipeline ain't going to be good. I don't like to use the word "a," but surely something's coming. Don't call me Shirley. I love that line. They've got everybody addicted. I can't, I'm going to say addicted because my nephew, down to my grandchildren, to my own son. You go over for dinner and they're cooking with the stand and they're, with the phone. And I've said a million times, don't do that when I'm here. And my son, he even will tell his own son, my grandson, "Shut up, your grandmother's mad. You're making her mad." And him looking at his dad like, he's like, "Listen to her voice. She's getting mad. I'm not going to stop her from knocking you out of that chair." Love my son. So, yeah, I think it's been way overdone. And it's a great tool. I wish I'd have had it at that age. Maybe I would have done a different path. Well, I know I would have. I spent so much time paying for college and working 3 jobs that I couldn't remember what I did learn in college because they changed the system again. Uh, that's why everybody in IT would just go, "Did you unplug it and plug it back in again?" There wasn't really anything else we could do about it. That was back at AOL. Yeah, so that was a whole different system. So now we've got internet and Wi-Fi. It's all one thing, but they made it Wi-Fi and internet, so they can charge you for each. Now, how do you pay your bills? Anybody? Yeah, that's right. You do that online too. You can't come up here. Gee, such a pain. So yeah, you do that too. So if you don't do that, they have hot spots. So you can get in your car and you can drive around and you look for a hot spot. And people do this on their phones now, and they're paying $2,000 for a phone. If I paid more than $49.50, I don't want that bitch. That's not a phone. I don't know what the hell you call it, gold. But I'm not doing it. I get a little droid. If it rings, I answer that puppy. I'm good to go. If I want to do something, I used to have pulled out my laptop. It finally tanked on me, so I've moved on to Chromebooks for what I necessarily need, which is to again pay your bills. And it turns out, did have an idea of being a podcaster because I wanted to represent the hippies, the baby boomers, those of us who are retired, those of us who are going towards 70, who are perhaps already 70. I wanted our voices to be heard at least one more time before we leave. So I'm hoping that all the crap that they're throwing at us, A, doesn't happen, and B, hopefully it doesn't fry this system of communication. This is why I can't do it without you guys. I keep saying that, and I'm sure you don't really want to run around with a Lucille wannabe. I love Lucille Ball. But somebody's got to do it. And then I started looking around and watching a little more YouTube and checking things. And there's a lot of podcasters out here. Apparently, they're making money. They drop film, they drop videos, whatever. I don't do that. So far, I haven't. And I haven't been asked to yet. Uh, as a published author, I find that to be really very close to plagiarism. Actually, I think it's plagiarism. So, I mean, I'll drop them if you want me to, if it's okay with the person who put that up. Because, yeah, they say, okay, it's on YouTube, it's for everybody. That may be true. Um, but at the same time, I would rather ask permission from certain areas of the, like Joe Rogan show, of course, would be one of the better known ones and the biggest and the oldest, I think. But before I would want to use Joe's videos, I would want permission from him that it was okay to do so. Everybody works really hard on these. This is, I mean, basically, if you have money when you go in, you've got a production crew, you've got a sound crew, you've got a makeup crew, you've got, yeah, a studio, you've got all those things. Then you've got people like me. We just like to watch ourselves talk. But no, actually, and it says why I do this because I want us to be heard. And I know there's more of them. It's not just me. There's a whole bunch more of us. And for some reason, I had started doing this as a 30-minute broadcast, and it's always been an hour. I never really get everything in it. And then by the next day, I'm so torn apart by everything that's going on. And again, you would think being a homebody, that wouldn't be a problem. I was wrong. It happens sometimes. I had a T-shirt once that said I was wrong, but I was mistaken. Oh no, once I thought I was wrong, but I was mistaken. That's me trying to. That's in a nutshell. Now, again, like, share, hit that bell, subscribe. I need you guys out here. I need all of us to get together again. And we did it once in the 70s. And then, bam, the world fell in. And it did. When the Clintons took over in the 80s, the world just went to hell in a handbasket. Read some of the stuff coming out of there. Check into the S&Ls and who got their money back. I tell you, nobody got their money back. That savings and loans crap, I don't know what the hell happened to that, but I was real glad I wasn't in one. They've been telling us now that our Social Security and so forth is an entitlement. No, an entitlement is you giving millions of students free education in colleges, but I'm paid by working a third job to get through it. We don't like that. They aren't any better than we are. And if you've got the money to pay these people's colleges off, why in God's name are people living in the street, mainly as veterans? I got another question for a lot of people. I don't think California, anybody will be out there for very long. They don't want to be out there no more. They let these people in. New York said, oh, bring them up here. 55 stores just closed. And that's on top of the 450 that closed last year. And the 1,020 that, the year before that during the pandemic. So again, and that's just not the only city or state that this is happening in. The other thing I found entertaining, again, I saw it on YouTube, these squatters' rights. I'll get to you. Well, these places have squatters' rights. So they've moved into this particular store, into billionaire mansion that had been taken from whoever and was given to the state to sell to put into the Medicaid program. I love that. That's so cute. That's what they were going to do with that money. So I think we're all stupid. In any event, turns out these squatters couldn't be got rid of. There's a law that says they can do that. So they've been having parties all night long. They're destroying this place. The pool looks like it's I don't know. I wouldn't put nothing in it, not even trash. And this is just one property. It's much worse in New York. They finally started raiding and these were just empty homes. And the migrants just walked in. They're doing the drugs, they're doing the money, they're doing the shootings, they're doing, and the theft is beyond the pale. So they took them all out of this particular block. They've been there for like 4 or 5 months already. So those places just need to be torn down. They're not going to save them because these people aren't trying to make a home in them. They're trying to just tear them down themselves. They came here because it's a nanny state. You come here, you had the baby, you got an anchor baby. We call it an anchor baby because if the baby's United States, American, whatever, so are you. So they're carrying them kids in there. I ain't seen them, but they say there's 800 some odd thousand of them that they put throughout the country. What made interested me mainly, and I love to see what her fancy Nancy looks like. Oh, come on down to Chinatown. Does she see the homeless people taking a crap on the streets in Chinatown? Those tent cities that they have on the sidewalks in San Francisco? Oh, I bet she didn't. She's got one of them $25,000 refrigerators. Why would she have to go there? She has food delivered. Yeah. It's like the one in LA. And they got the billionaire's house. They're all partying their buns off. They're having a good time tearing the shit out of that. And keeping every millionaire and billionaire that owns houses. And this is the exclusive place to live in LA. Very big me. They're not happy. They're not happy at all. These are thieves, murderers, rapists. I mean, it's the low of the low that they've let in here because the deal was they'll vote Democratic. And if they don't, their kids will. Or their kids will. They have a lot of kids. They're Catholic. However, I think some of the hotel vouchers ran out in New York. So they started taking over the abandoned homes, which wouldn't be abandoned, but who could spend $4,000 a month for rent for 2 rooms? I mean, even in New York, they couldn't keep that up for long. They managed for a while, though. And New York's always been pretty much the hub for the immigrants, the Irish, or whoever. Uh, I started laughing when Governor DeSantis in Florida, I thought this was the greatest thing. Um, he started finding out that they were bringing him in at 2 or 3 in the morning in the airports and the buses because nobody was around to see who brought who where and how many they were dropping off to go God knows where. So he found out about it. I guess the cops finally told him. I don't know. So the next time they I love this. The next time they sent a few of the buses in, he turned them around and sent them to Martha's Vineyard. I would have voted for him. Not that it would have mattered, but it just felt better doing it. That was a really good plan. I think they did stop them. Again, with these squatters' rights, they can't get them out of these homes they've taken in California, especially California. Governor DeSantis, he made some laws and he signed them into whatever that means. He signed them. I can't even think of that word. But he took steps immediately when he found that there were thousands of homes in Florida that have been taken over by the illegal immigrants as squatters' rights. And I saw some other footage of these people getting in cops' faces and screaming, and I mean screaming, that I had to turn the volume down on the TV. It was so jarring. Screaming at these officers because their neighbors had said, please have them turn this down. It's 2 in the morning. Kids got to go to school. And they're screaming at these cops and they're shoving them and they want to know their badge number and they don't have to tell them who they are. And I'm like, wow. How do you take apart a country, folks? What's the easiest way to take out a country, even one as big as ours? Oh, wait. Good coffee this morning. A little scotch with it. That would be from within. That's the easiest way to take out any country. And if you look at the countries that have fallen in our own recorded history, Persia, which people don't understand, is Iran. It changed that in the 70s. It's Persia. Now it's Iran. Babylon. Oh, yeah, they call it Iraq now. They just put another name there. Um, then again, these places were taken out from within by either the terrorist organizations or the people themselves or whatever. In ancient history, they just spread themselves too thin, like the Romans did. Even though they pulled those legionnaires in, they lost all of those outlying places. Same with the church, the Catholic Church. And they should never have gone after uh, the Templar Knights, which was keeping mainly many countries afloat, including the papacy. But they did, and they should never have done that. That was a big mistake. They've been looking for that money ever since. Because within before, I think it was like the day before, the day after, that it's 1307, Friday the 13th, bad day. Excuse me. And so they went looking for the properties and to get stuff. Those properties were empty. They got some prisoners, and you sacrifice a few for the many. That's even my motto. Personally, as an older person, I'd rather step up to be shot than the 2-year-old infant, for God's sake. I'm not afraid of a bullet. I'm going to take a bunch of you with me, but I ain't afraid of that bullet. That's a fast way to go. It's an honorable way to go. But I'm not going to stand up there with a star on my ass and take off my clothes while holding my kids so you can gun me down. Screw you. You can take out 1,000 of us, but if there's 2,000 of us, it don't matter if we got clothes on or not. We gonna kill you. And this time, when the IDF got attacked on the 7th, and they killed several thousand, horrendously killed them. This isn't human. What happened on October 7th? People need to understand that too. I mean, they actually made the Nazis look good. Now you got to be really working at being evil to make a Nazi freaking look good. Because I've been where these places are, and they're not in Germany. Everybody needs to wake up about that. Poland's a big country too, by the way. And who did they take first? Who did they take second? Flat out, Poland was where they did most of these. Bergen-Bergen, Bergen-Belsen, Auschwitz, all of these were mainly in Poland. Not so much Germany. Of course, Germany owned everything. I don't know how many of you know that 2,000 of them, at least, were brought to Huntsville, Alabama, put in high positions, expunged their records, and they became Americans, right? What were they working for? Oh, yeah, that'd be NASA. Now, chew on that for a second. And suddenly we get rid of the shuttle. It blows up mysteriously. And they blame this on an O-ring. This thing blew a freaking part in the air a couple miles up. But they blamed it on an O-ring that they supposedly found from the wreck. Really? And people bought that. I didn't for a second. I did not for a second believe that if they did know, it wasn't an O-ring. If anybody know, and I know what an O-ring is because I have a mechanic for a husband. It's a little piece of rubber that goes in this thing. No, they didn't have none of that. They ain't find none of that shit. They couldn't have found any of that shit the way that I watched it live. We all used to watch them live back then. I was on my lunch hour at work, and I stayed at work at that time. And I couldn't believe what I was seeing at first because everything's fine. I mean, and it doesn't process at first. And then you hear the gasps and the screams and the crying. And they had Sally Ride, who was a teacher for civilian aboard a shuttle. So it was horrific. I think she had 3 children. Either way, loss of life is loss of life. And they ran the shuttle, I think, for another decade after that. It might be a little more, a little less, I'm not sure. But they stopped showing the takeoffs and stuff. I think every once in a while you could catch a landing if you looked for it. So they got rid of that. And they're paying the Russians a couple million per astronaut to go. Why? Why? Why did they suddenly ditch the shuttle? I've been asking since 1975, why did they stop going to the moon? Because the bitches that were there said, don't do that. We will wipe you out. That's why. They blamed it on gray dust. The guys jumping around. Yeah, they blamed that on the gray dust. Couldn't get it out of shit. Of course, they went up there 3 or 4 times, but it was the gray dust. Yeah. There's not a pharaonic face looking up at you from Mars. There's not a city surrounding that pharaonic face. That's just a trick of the light. Now, this is from NASA again. But when you get the real photos that haven't been, as we say today, photoshopped, Mars isn't orange. It's blue. like us. There's some little things here and there that are kind of orange, like the continents, but it's recovering and it's been shown to have life. So I don't know what the hell's supposed to be up there, but if you ask me, we came from Mars. I think it's a prison planet. I know that the asteroid belt was once a planet. You couldn't convince me otherwise when I was 11. It had to be. And there's a spot where there should be a planet and there isn't one. You have the asteroid belt. And I love how Pluto is a moon. It's not a moon. It is a moon. It's not a moon. I don't know what that's about, but make up your damn mind. It's a big thing. It goes around. Yeah, I'm just saying it. It's got an obelisk on it. If anybody hasn't seen the movie 2001: A Space Odyssey, watch it. It gives you a lot of fun stuff. And this was like 30 years ahead of its time. Open the pod, pay doors out, hell, and the AI won't do it because it's detrimental to the human's life. He's the only one left alive out of like, I don't know, 40 crew. But yeah, I don't know why, they've been keeping Mars as an orange planet, i.e., no atmosphere. The other thing I had to ask was how the hell they knew that the atmosphere was ripped away from Mars. And that's what they say. The term they use is ripped away from Mars. Well, then now there's another scientist who stepped forward, and you can see those like lightning strikes. They're huge. You go like halfway across and maybe a third across Mars. And we can see them in the telescope. Well, those have the radiation signature of thermonuclear weapons. And I mean large scale thermonuclear weapons, planet killers. And that's what they were called, planet killers. And they hit them in such a way with these two thermonuclear planet killers that they would explode midair with the most horrific force in the worst way possible for them to hit them. They've got farseers who talked to people a couple million years ago on Mars, who were putting people into little pods and they were shuffling them up through. I do believe I believe that because there's some indications that that's true. I don't know about anybody else, but I was watching the pyramid. It was a space pyramid, a spaceship. I don't know, but it was over the Pentagon last year. Three different people got video of that. In any event, yeah. I don't know if anybody knows. You should know. What's Billy Carson? Some of them. What's Ancient Aliens? I mean, it won't hurt you. Uh, grab some information. Check it out for yourself. If you want to believe, don't want to believe, look for yourself. I don't believe shit. I go look it up and then I talk to five other sources and then might believe half. So I'm very arrogant. So yeah, on the Mars thing, uh, Cairo means Camp of Mars. And that's not been told. That's not taught in history. No. It means Camp of Mars or Mars Camp, however you want to translate those few words. I don't know if anybody else knows this too, but I'm going to go with a show of hands. Does anybody know what word pyramid is called in any other language? No hands? It's called pyramid. There is no different word for pyramid in any language on the planet. No other word. It's pyramid. That's it. So what did the military want in Iraq? What did they want in Afghanistan? Besides giving Bergam Air Force Base a bunch of black helicopters, they had a bunch of Black Hawks, money, uniforms, Jeeps, UVs. Well, yeah, we gave them a lot of stuff. I got to give them credit. They haven't used it to attack, as far as I know. What broke my heart was watching these citizens out there with their children. I mean, it was Saigon all over again. And even I was crying. I was like, how could they do this? They knew these people would be mowed down, just like they did in Saigon. And they got as many as they could out. Then they had to go. Same thing in Afghanistan. I don't know what idiot that people call the president, and I don't find a better adjective for idiot than that. Decides that because they have a deadline, because he ran on this position, and supposedly hasn't kept any other promise. He hasn't done anything he's supposed to do in 50 years nearly in politics as senator, so forth and so on. He hasn't done any of that. Look up some of his speeches from, like, say, 1985 or whatever. He's the most racist little bastard I ever talked to, ever heard in my life. This man is so racist, it oozes from his pores. And that's who you got running your country. Check stuff. When it says this idiot has been in office for 40 plus years, you don't need him because they ain't done nothing in that amount of time. And I see again, I've run up on and over my time. I don't know if I'll have time to add it. So again, I've touched on a bunch of subjects like I normally do. I did not put down anybody else's work. If anybody wants me to investigate anything, any subject, let me know because I'm just as curious as you are. And we don't have a lot of time left. I'm not going to say I'm going to bump off in the next year and a half. Same for the rest of us. But we are now the older generation. Our parents are gone. Our grandparents are gone. We're it. We are all grandparents. We are all parents, pretty much. I don't want to lose us hippies. Not yet. They buried us for 40 years already. Now I dug my way out. And by doing so, you had to take the blinkers off. And you had to go, what the hell are they talking about? You got to do the same thing. Now, I don't know if I would have started this podcast if I would have thought that it wasn't something that we would all want to talk about, that we would all want to utilize, that we would all use as a platform to have our hippies' voices returned to us, that we would be able to stand up and say to this party or that party. And if I hear the word bipartisan one more time, even I'm going to get a goddamn rifle with a scope and start looking for people. I kid, but you know what I'm saying. I mean, come on, join the channel. It's free. If you don't have YouTube and you happen to see this because I threw it on Facebook, it's another reason I throw it on Facebook. YouTube is free. Download it. Ask for the password. Give it a password. Bam, you're in. You can find me under Lady Hippy at the bar. Hippies with a Y instead of an IE, unless I used a microphone. What can I say? But I'm well over my time today, and I was trying to correct some things I didn't have time to do yesterday. So again, comments are always welcome. I love you guys. I couldn't do this without you. Please keep the likes coming, share, and again, please subscribe. I would like to see the hippies make one more comeback. Once more, to tell the truth that everybody else is afraid to speak of because it takes care of their paychecks if they do. Not much they can do about us old folk. Remember my dad saying that in World War II. The man was smart, and he was right. The mob did hang up their Tommy guns. They put on ties, and they went to D.C., and they became lobbyists. Look it up. That's how I'm doing. I mean, I ain't going to hold you. You know, everybody's opinion is welcome. Not everybody's going to be the same. And that's the fun part. I mean, to me, that's the fun part. That we get to explore that we get to see every walk of life. And it's not like we baby boomers / hippies have not seen a lot. We haven't seen a lot change. Yes, we have. Yes, sir. These kids today are born with this equipment. We weren't. I remember the first transistor radio. I was 13. It's a long time ago. So give me a holler, give me a shout, share, tickle the bell. And I'm going to get the heck off of here and try and pretend I don't have to do housework. I lie. Love you guys. Come see me. I will get back to you, I promise. Go out there and make it a smooth one. Toodles.